It is Tuesday, December the 13th, 2022. Good morning. I'm Pearson Bowen. This is the CBC Morning Report. Local health authorities are concerned about the spread of COVID-19 given current positivity rates. Chief Medical Officer Dr. the Most Honorable Kenneth George says respiratory illnesses are on his ministry's radar, especially now in the Christmas season.
The information reaching us from the epidemiology unit shows that we still have some challenges with respect to respiratory disease and COVID in Barbados. The positivity rate is just below 20%, and the R effective is above 1. And those two metrics together indicate that we are still having COVID spread in our communities. In addition, what we also know is that the number of persons coming to be tested has fallen off, and therefore the number of persons having COVID within our communities is maybe not a true reflection of what it really is.
Dr. George wants us all to be cautious at this time, but notes one positive is the rate of hospitalizations is low. There has, however, been one recent death.
Of those few individuals who were hospitalized, they are having milder forms of illness. We unfortunately, within the last 7 days, have had a single death, and we continue to monitor hospitalizations and death as a metrics to determine how severe infections are. So we will continue to work with the population. Many of you know what are the preventative measures. I'm not here to dampen your Christmas in any way, but we are here to let you know that there are still simple things that you can do to prevent sickness and illness.
Health officials also say while the present COVID-19 strains are not as harmful as Delta, they are still highly infectious, so individuals need to be mindful of their safety and sanitization.
The viruses circulating are certainly not as deadly or causing severe illness as when we were in the throes of Delta. The virus circulating is very infectious, so the likelihood of transmission is high, but the outcomes appear to be a bit better. But we still know that the following categories of persons are considered to be vulnerable: those who have chronic diseases, those who are overweight, those who are advancing in age, and those are the persons who we will ask to go the extra mile. The message is personal responsibility. We will continue to work with you every step of the way. Let me assure the public that the ministry has not taken its eye off of COVID.
In addition, Deputy Chief Environmental Health Officer Ronald Chapman has issued a warning given the large numbers of tourists expected on the island this season.
Things like mask wearing, which is still probably the best, if not the best method of preventing the spread of respiratory illness. They continue to ensure that your hand hygiene is up to scratch. If you are not able to wash your hands, still use your hand sanitizers. The whole idea of physical distancing and so on, those things are still important.
Coming up on the CBC Morning Report, a further international update on the COVID-19 pandemic and the G7 pledge more help for Ukraine.
While you go about your business, we go about our business, and that is gathering the news. Stay up to date at CBC News Barbados on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. Get news update on radio throughout the day. And join us for the CBC News Night at 7 every night. CBC News team is on the job and bringing you the news.
Because you love English Premier League, MCTV has got it back. Now you can watch all the games of the English Premier League plus UEFA and NFL on MCTV. Current customers can upgrade to Max Pack Extra at just $23. Call MCTV today at 228-6288 to upgrade or come in and sign up for our new service. Football fans, let MCTV get you back in the game.
Think before you click, Adrian. Think before you click. Don't forget now. Before you spread wrong information. Think before you click. Just stop and think. Think before you click. Think before you click. If you can't confirm the source of the information, think before you click. When friends send news to your phone, check the source or leave it alone. Cause people creating fake news to deceive you and confuse. Alright yo, accident broadcast on WhatsApp. Check yourself, don't forward that. Have respect for the victim's family. You would not share family like that. Think before you click. Agents, think before you click. Don't forget now. Before you spread wrong information, think before you click. Just stop and think. Think before you click. Think before you click. If you
China is scrapping the use of its tracking app in the latest loosening of the country's tough zero COVID strategy following rare protests by residents.
It's the latest move by Beijing to ease restrictions. The app records travel history through users' phones, signaling if a person has been to a high-risk area. The government-run app has monitored people's movements for more than 2 years. Richard Kimber has more from Hong Kong.
Well, this is a really big deal for your average Chinese citizen because this app has been a cornerstone of China's efforts to try and stop the transmission of COVID-19 over the last 2 years. It effectively has kept a record of exactly where you've gone and prevented you in many cases from being able to travel from one province to another, which has been especially a big deal for Chinese families who are trying to reconnect over the Lunar New Year holidays. Now, those are coming in just around 6 weeks' time at the end of January, and it could be the first time in almost 3 years that many families are going to be able to get back together without any kind of COVID-19 hurdles getting in the way. So that's really how big a deal this is for your average Chinese citizen. This app is being dismantled and will effectively no longer be a requirement for people who are trying to move from one province to another, or in some cases just go in and out of major cities like Beijing. It's part of a series of efforts from the government in recent days to basically dismantle their so-called zero COVID strategy and try and open up society once again. The amount of things you can now do in daily life in China, and to a lesser extent also here in Hong Kong, has now become much, much easier. This of course comes after a very rare and even unprecedented set of protests calling for an end to these regulations on the street from the public, and in some cases even calling for the resignation of President Xi Jinping. This type of social pressure really unheard of in this modern age with the way that the Communist Party has been ruling China. But there are concerns that despite all of this opening up, making life much easier, there are also concerns, of course, of what could be a spike in COVID-19 cases and potentially in deaths. And international health experts are warning that China may not be prepared for this.
Russian missiles, artillery and drones have hammered targets in eastern and southern Ukraine as global economic powers pledged to beef up Kyiv's military capabilities with a focus on air defenses. The Group of Seven promised on Monday to meet Ukraine's urgent requirements after President Vladimir Zelensky appealed to the virtual G7 meeting for modern tanks, artillery firepower and long-range weapons against Russia's devastating invasion. The president also called for the world leaders to lead the process of a global peace summit.
I propose to convene a special summit, the Global Peace Formula Summit, to decide how and when we can implement the points of the Ukrainian peace formula. I suggest that you show leadership in the implementation of a peace formula, and we suggest that Russia takes a concrete, meaningful step towards a diplomatic solution, which is so often talked about in Moscow.
Coming up at 6:30 in Morning Barbados today, tourism is his business and he is playing his part. We'll meet the BHTA's Employee of the Year in just a little while. Also today on our conversations on CARICOM, we'll be taking a look at the impact of Cuba in Barbados and the region following the recent visit by President Canel Diaz. Also today, can you spot the signs of ADHD? Can you? Well, Dr. Birchwood will join us. She'll help us spot those signs and show us ways in which we can manage our children with ADHD. All that and a whole lot more straight ahead at 6:30 on Morning Barbados. The morning report continues in a moment.
There is a saying, you can find a Bajan anywhere. Are you a Bajan living abroad? Or do you know of one who has migrated to another country? Well, we at Mornin Barbados would love to have you or them on our Bajan Afar segment. Share your amazing stories, experiences, and how you have adapted to a new culture. Send us an email to morninbarbados@cbc.vb. And together we will travel the world.
Some ask, what makes Barbados so special? We at Mornin Barbados say it's you, our exceptional youth. You are talented, resilient, and inspirational.
Barbados has released a new passport with improved security features. The announcement from the Minister of Home Affairs and Immigration, Wilfred Abrams. CBC's Trevor Thorpe reports.
The Minister has called the new passport a collector's item of which all Barbadians can be justly proud.
We are transitioning to the new passport effective immediately. So going forward, you're going to have two sets of passports until the old passports are renewed out of the system. Now, your old passport will still be valid. But for persons who are applying for passports from today's date, they will get the new passport. The features are going to be explained by somebody else, but it's really exciting. This was a process. We went through a number of designs. The designs, when you see the passports, have Pelican, places of interest in Barbados. And these are not just there for aesthetic purposes, but they're also incorporated into the security features. It is a top of the line, first rate, first class, very, very secure passport. And I am pleased that we're putting it into operation from today.
The new document will have more security features.
So the main features of the new design book are images from Barbadian historical and cultural landscapes, as well as upgraded security features in keeping with international standards. The businessman's passport that we used to have has been discontinued. So you will no longer be getting businessmen's passports anymore. And there's a practical reason for that. Once upon a time, everywhere you went, they stamped into your passport. And the business persons, by virtue of traveling more often, their passports got full a lot quicker. So the businessman's passport had additional pages with a thicker passport. But in many places now, they don't necessarily stamp the passport on entry. They definitely don't stamp it on leaving. You swipe the passport, and so the passports actually last a lot longer. So we took the decision to phase out the businessman's passport.
Acting Chief Immigration Officer Margaret Innes says the regular passport will be good for 10 years and provided details of the cost of renewals.
10 days and under, that will be 150 Barbados dollars. If you want to get your passport between 2 to 3 days, that's 225 Barbados dollars. And if you want it back within 24 hours, that would be 300 Barbados dollars.
Minister Abrams also notes the Immigration Department is constantly working on ways to improve its service to the public, and a number of training programs are already in place. Trevor Thorpe, CBC News.
Well, changes are coming to make the island's roads repair depot more efficient. Word of this from Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Transport and Works, Santia Bradshaw. She was speaking during the launch of 2 books on road safety.
We've been looking at the reorganization of our depots because we've had a situation where we've decentralized a lot of work in relation to road markings and road safety. But the truth of the matter is that it has not been as efficient as I think the public of Barbados deserves. We need teams that are dedicated to doing those road markings more efficiently. We need teams that are going to repair the jersey barriers, that are going to ensure that even the culverts that may be broken, that those are also repaired. So rather than have individual depots fighting for resources, trying to repair and to correct a number of these deficiencies, I think it may be more prudent for us now to look at dedicated teams that are able to address things such as this in terms of road safety.
Ms. Bradshaw has also provided an update on plans to create dedicated zones to address the issue of speeding near schools.
We have discussed embarking on plans to create school zones using signage, road markings, and other devices. This would allow drivers to be aware that they're entering the vicinity of a school. Again, another obvious thing which we would expect that drivers would appreciate. They know that they're driving into a school area, therefore they need to slow down. But it clearly means, based on the statistics, that we are now in a situation where we have to utilize as many mechanisms as possible for bringing awareness to what should be obvious to people as well. And therefore, we intend to improve the infrastructure around the schools, implement the educational programs, and obviously, where necessary, reflect changes that will be needed to the Road Traffic Act as well.
Visitors can now see prisoners again at Dodds. Dodds Prison welcomed its first visitors yesterday after being off limits since December 2020. Minister of Home Affairs and Immigration Wilfred Abrams says the decision to reopen the facility has been taken after discussions with prison officials.
We did not make the decision lightly to close down the prison. And we also did not make the decision lightly to reopen the prison. I will say that some were pushing for it to be done next year, but this is Christmas. And inmates have been unable to see their family in person. They've been unable to have interactions with their attorneys in person at the prison since we shut down. While we want to dot all our I's and cross all our T's, there comes a time when you have to draw a line in the sand.
Acting Chief Prison Officer DeCarlo Payne says the COVID-19 protocols are still in place and visitors must wear masks.
On a daily basis, it's anticipated that we're going to be doing 11 groups of visits. All right? Instead of 15 minutes, we're going to extend that period to 30 minutes. So we're going to be reducing the amount of persons who are going to be traversing the institution, which means the visits are going to be a bit longer, but we're going to be reducing the amounts. So at any one time, we're going to have 15 persons, 15 visitors.
The impact of a solar hydrogen energy plant to be built at the Harlow plantation in St. Philip was heard firsthand by residents who have concerns over its water use and land degradation. The company, Renewable Barbados, will be building a solar photovoltaic energy plant, but hydrogen and sheep farming are also key components of the plant. A recent public consultation allowed residents to hear firsthand the findings of the Environmental Social Impact Assessment during a meeting at the Princess Margaret School. Thibault Menage, the Vice President of Caribbean and members of Hydrogen de France, explained the ownership and purpose of the proposed $150 million plant.
It's a large solar plant. 50 megawatts. So I don't know if that speaks to everyone here, but 50 megawatt is actually 5 times the size of the project that is in St. Lucie, Trans, operating by BLPC. But it's not only a 50 megawatt solar. It's also a large scale storage of power, which is a combination of a hydrogen storage and a battery storage. So 3/4 of it is hydrogen storage and 1/4 of it would be a battery storage. Battery storage is a good short-term storage. Hydrogen storage is a good long-term storage. So they work complementary with each other. And this is the most competitive setup in order to deliver what the RSB project has been designed for, which is a continuous power 24/7, thanks to the sun as the primary source of energy. And it's also a major investment for the country, which is around 150 million US dollars, so 300 million Barbados dollar, which will be financed by international and local equity and debt.
Protesters in Peru have erected new blockades and expanded their demonstrations in several regions as calls for new elections and the release of detained former President Pedro Castillo grow across the country. Hundreds used burning tires, wood and rocks on Monday to block an airport runway in the country's second largest city of Arequipa in anger over Castillo's impeachment and arrest, while new roadblocks were set up in other major cities.
At least 2 people were hurt in confrontations with security forces. There have been days of demonstrations since the former president, Pedro Castillo, was impeached and detained last week. The new president, Dina Boluarte, has said she will ask Congress to bring elections forward to calm the unrest. Let's get an update from Mariana Sanchez. She's joining us from Lima. So there are ongoing protests. Some of them have turned violent, as we've seen, as we've been reporting. What's the situation like on the ground right now?
Well, Doreen, we are in the center of the capital, and already there have been some people protesting here. Some of them are followers or supporters of former President Pedro Castillo. Other people say they want Congress to be closed. The situation around the country is tense because there are still highways blocked in the south, in the center, and in the north part of the country. One of them, the Pan American Highway, a very important highway for the supply of food in the capital. Now, we've seen earlier today about 2,000 people protesting in the airport of Arequipa. They took over the airport. They overrun the landing strip. They lit tires, and there were clashes with the police. The police have already been able to clear them from the landing strip. They're outside. They're still protesting, but all flights to that area have been canceled, and flights to other places in Lima, in Peru, for some airlines have canceled their flights, and the buses, the interprovincial buses that bring people around from the capital out to all of the country have been mostly canceled for days now, so at least 1 million passengers have been affected. Now, the Lima airport was also some protesters tried to take over the Lima airport in the capital, but police protected this international airport. Now, this after President Dina Boluarte went on the air last night, in the middle of the night, and announced that she would call for early elections, which is something that people are asking for. Early elections in April 2024, that's 2 years ahead of the term that she must or should stay in office. And she said also that she would send a bill to Congress for constitutional
Look at the man over
reforms.
her right shoulder.
However, people are very angry because 2 teenagers have died in the area of Andahuaylas, and many critics are saying that there is police repression.
British nurses will go on strike this week, hitting already stretched hospitals and cranking up pressure on Prime Minister Rishi Sunak to quell the biggest wave of industrial action to hit that country in decades. The walkout comes as strikes cripple the rail network and postal service, airports brace for disruption, and junior doctors, midwives and teachers prepare to ballot, threatening to further jam up an economy that is likely already in recession.
Workers across the UK are demanding pay rises to keep up with the soaring cost of living. The disruption is expected to affect several sectors over the December holiday period. Now, Britain's finance minister has warned of tougher times ahead. It follows the release of data showing the UK is on course for a long-lasting recession.
Well, these figures confirm that this is a very challenging economic situation here and across the world, and it will get worse before it gets better. But we have a plan that will more than halve inflation over the next year, and if we stay the course, we can get back to the strong economic growth that we need.
Well, postal worker strikes have been ongoing and will continue for 2 days this week as well as the 2 days before Christmas. Workers with the RMT union, which include train drivers and cleaners, will be on strike nearly every day from December 13th until the 27th, severely affecting Christmas travel plans. Also affecting holiday travel, a walkout by Border Force employees at major airports, including Heathrow and Gatwick. Staff will strike over an 8-day period starting on December 23rd. And nurses and ambulance drivers will stage their walkouts on December 15th, 20th, 21st and 28th. Jonah Hull is in London. He says this period of strikes will affect all aspects of life in the UK.
Rolling sequence of public sector strikes, a real season of disruption looming here. Some are already underway, others ramping up during the course of this week and into next, and then sustained across the Christmas period and potentially well into the new year as well, as unions square up against the government and against government-run and subsidised businesses over disputes to do with pay and conditions, and affecting there everything from your Christmas post to rail travel to air travel through airports and border staff going on strike, sectors big and small, from bus drivers to driving instructors all the way to nurses, as you mentioned there, the nursing union going on strike later this week for the first time in its history, and paramedics going on strike next week. And I'm standing outside the headquarters of the London Ambulance Service here, and more strikes potentially coming in 2023, with ballots yet to be concluded, likely to include firefighters, teachers, midwives, junior doctors, as well as London Underground staff. This huge rolling sequence of strikes, as I say, it's been likened by some to a full general strike, and coming at a crucial time, not just of course because it's Christmas and because it's winter when many of these sectors are needed most, but piling pressure on the government at a time of record high inflation, a cost of living emergency.
Barbadian squash player Megan Best is the 2022 Canadian Open Squash Champion, playing in the women's Next Gen singles finals last evening at Niagara-on-the-Lake in Ontario. Best dispatched her opponent Nikki Shirami of Iran in 3 sets, 11-4, 11-9, 11-8. Before that, Best advanced to the final round after another outstanding performance in the semis, where she won against Kalika Nimji of Kenya 7-6 and 2. Here's a look at the highlights from the final with Best in the grey leggings.
Throwing in a post in the back. She's going to be doing a lot of change of direction, a lot of different shots to really throw off the movement of Megan. Really pushing it through the court. She's really got to start trying to do that consistently to make some inroads. There's a 10. Really good start from Megan. She's been very consistent in that game. Here we go. Another chance at championship ball after that left. She's got the that's great post. Way to take it in. She really stepped up into it. Great fight back from Nikki when she looked down out there 9-1, but good of her to push back, but that takes a huge toll on the energy levels. You can kind of see it kind of dropped off.
To our champion from Barbados, Megan Best.
Well, here's a look at forecast conditions now as recorded earlier at the Met Office of the Grant Lee Adams International Airport. At the moment, 27 degrees Celsius under fair conditions. The winds are coming from the north-northwest at 11 kilometers an hour. Expect a low tide at 19 minutes to 1 this afternoon, the first high tide at 26 minutes to 8 this morning, with a second at 22 minutes to 7 this evening. Seas are predicted to be moderate to rough in open water, with northerly swells ranging from 1.5 to 2.5 meters and increasing. Small craft operators and sea bathers should exercise caution, especially on western coasts. So expect today Barbados to be cloudy with scattered light to moderate showers, periods of light rain and a low chance of isolated thunderstorms. That's for today. Tonight, mostly cloudy with clear breaks, with the occasional brief scattered light to moderate shower and rain. A look at some forecast conditions now for some international cities. And that's the CBC Morning Report. I'm Pearson Bowen. Morning Barbados starts now.
Barbados, get up. Good morning. Good morning, Barbados. Good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Morning, morning, morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Morning, Barbados. Good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Morning, Barbados. Good morning. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Morning to you.
As the song says, good morning to you, good morning everyone. Welcome to Tuesday. It's the 13th of December 2022 and makes it, 11 more shopping days. You have until the 24th to complete your shopping for Christmas. Time is literally waiting on no one, so let it not wait on you. So just get going, everybody. Christmas is almost here. Now today, Tuesday, we will be meeting the man for whom tourism is his business. He plays his part. He is the BHTA's Employee of the Year. Can't wait to talk to him a little bit about that. Also today, Adrian at large, Adrian at loggerheads. He's grown up. This completes a trilogy of books by the author, and he joins us this morning as we delve through the pages of the latest edition in the Adrian at large series. My house is small, perfect. That's right. Isn't that a strange statement to make? Well, Agent Sharita will help us understand why that is a perfect condition to be in when the house is small. So listen up for that. Also, we'll be today making a call to someone to let you know you are a winner on our Christmas competition. We'll be giving you some wonderful words to unscramble straight ahead in just a little while. We'll also today be talking about ADHD. What is it? Can you spot the signs and the symptoms? And what do you then do when your child presents with symptoms and signs of having ADHD? How do we treat to it? But let's get started with our conversations on CARICOM today. And joining us this morning as we talk about Cuba, its impact on Barbados and the region, and all of the activities that unfolded last week, is Barbados Ambassador to CARICOM, His Excellency David Commichon. Ambassador, good morning to you.
Good morning, Pearson. Pleasure to be here.
Terrific. Tuesday morning to you, sir. Let's talk about this because we had quite a moment in Barbados and the region last week when the President of Cuba visited the region. What do you see to have been the overall outcome of that particular visit?
Yes, it was quite a week. Last week, Monday, we had Barbados-Cuba bilateral meeting. Tuesday, we had CARICOM-Cuba, Heads of Government Summit. Wednesday, we had the Civil Society colloquium at the University of the West Indies. So quite a week. In terms of Barbados, I would say that Barbadians can look forward to a number of concrete developmental initiatives. The Barbados-Cuba relationship has been deepened. There's several areas in which we are going to be collaborating with Cuba that's going to make a real difference to the lives of Barbadians. In fact, we are setting up a joint Barbados-Cuba task force to implement the projects agreed upon, and I have been asked to chair the Barbados side of that task force. So we could get into that, some of the specifics. In terms of CARICOM, it was more about reconfirming the relationship. It was about reconfirming a number of the projects that are in the train, for example, that are in train. For example, Cuba is helping CARICOM with the establishment of a center in Guyana for stimulating the development of young people and children who have special educational needs because of disability. So Cuba is helping us with that. We also recommitted to developing the Regional School of the Arts. That's supposed to be developed in Jamaica, where a lot of Cuban expertise in the arts, all the art forms, will be made available. Cuba recommitted to our reparations struggle, our reparations campaign. And CARICOM and Cuba, they look forward to a lot more collaboration in the health field. Cuba can provide a lot of training in specialties for nurses, for doctors, that we are maybe a bit short in. Also, Cuban medications. We're going to be making a lot more use of Cuban medications. And I should say Barbados in particular, because our Prime Minister was very quick to jump upon the fact that Cuba has developed this new cutting-edge medication to deal with diabetes, to prevent amputations as a result of diabetes. And Barbados is going to be immediately fast-tracking the bringing of that medication. And not just the medication, but Cuba has actually worked out special education programs for people with diabetes, special treatment kits. All of that Barbados is going to be accessing. So too CARICOM, but Barbados, very, very definite and concrete programs where Barbados is concerned. I think the big news though for CARICOM-Cuba is that Cuba was invited to formally become part of the CARICOM Special Ministerial Committee on Agricultural Production and Food Security. This is the project that CARICOM has to reduce the regional food import bill by 25% by the year 2025. And the CARICOM Ministers of Agriculture are in a special committee overseeing that project. Well, Cuba was invited into that project where the Cuban Minister of Agriculture will sit with the CARICOM Ministers of Agriculture, and Cuba will become an integral part of that food production project. And Barbados is in the center of that project. We are about to build the food terminal at Leers that will be a hub for food production across the region. So those are just a few. We can delve more deeply, but I'll leave it there for opening statement.
Just a few. That sounds like quite a lot indeed from my standpoint. Let's look at the Barbados Task Force, for which you have some responsibility to begin to flesh out and to bring into fruition the agreements between Barbados and Cuba. I know we're going to be delving into setting up a pharmaceutical industry, working with them on a whole host of other things. What are some of the next steps now that we have this kind of an arrangement in place?
Well, I have to work very quickly on putting together the Barbados side of the task force. And the Barbados side of the task force will include our ambassador in Cuba, Philip St. Hill, but will also include 2 representatives from each of the ministries that have concrete projects with Cuba. One of the first things we are likely to be doing is sending off a team from our Department of Emergency Management to Cuba early in 2023 to tap into Cuba's world-class expertise in dealing with disasters, particularly hurricanes. So we are anxious that we should access that expertise before the 2023 hurricane season starts. Barbados has also committed to a an artistic and cultural exchange program with Cuba, $1 million a year for the next 5 years to finance the exchange of artists, and especially young artists. So we are going to be seeing Barbadian artists going to Cuba, engaging in artistic collaborations with Cuban artists. This is going to be very exciting, and it's being financed out of the Sports and Arts Fund, $1 million every year for the next 5 years. Many years ago, I was involved with Joy Night in taking 65 young musicians from the Barbados National Youth Orchestra to spend a month in Cuba at the National School of Music, just training on their instruments, and the youth orchestra, the expertise, exploded. So I know what this will mean for the development of the arts in Barbados. Biotech, you hit the nail on the head. At the Barbados-Cuba meeting, a memorandum of understanding was signed between Export Barbados and BioCuba Pharma. That is the big Cuban entity that deals with the whole biotechnology industry, medications, pharmaceuticals. Barbados is moving into biotechnology, pharmaceutical industry in a big way. We are developing a life sciences park at Newton, and Cuba is going to be a big part of that. So expect expect to see a lot of collaboration in helping Barbados to develop this new industry. Cuba is a world leader in this industry. Education. You know, Cuba gives us scholarships. We are going to be giving Cuba a few scholarships. We're going to be giving Cuba 10 scholarships. Cuba is also going to be helping us with a program to develop speaking of Spanish as a second language in Barbados. We are going to be lots of collaboration in the health field. We already have Cuban nurses here. We know that we need them going into the future, but a lot of collaboration we're going to see in training our nurses and training doctors in specialties, even in agriculture. We have just launched this community agriculture response and empowerment project where the Ministry of Agriculture is going to be developing agricultural projects in communities, including urban communities, to deal with the rise in the cost of living. Well, Cuba has a lot of expertise in that. For a long time now, Cuba has been developing these urban gardens. So collaboration in that as well. Tourism, the two tourism ministries are going to be signing a memorandum of understanding. We're going to look at the possibility of visitors being able to visit both Barbados and Cuba in one trip. Also, we're going to be looking at the possibility of health tourism, of Barbados and Cuba can partner in health tourism. So it's going to be very exciting. This relationship with Cuba is going to add real value to Barbadian society and to Barbados's economy.
Now, listening to it, you use the word relationship. Relationship has to be 50-50. We see the benefits to Barbados and the region. What are the benefits to Cuba from this relationship?
Well, we have recognized that as well, that we have to give, and that is why, for example, we are establishing the scholarship program where we're going to be reciprocating. We're going to actually give Cuban students are going to come to Barbados on scholarship. Similarly, they're going to help us with Spanish as a second language program. We are going to reciprocate with helping them with the teaching of English as a second language in Cuba. So Barbados for sure has recognized that it needs to be reciprocal, and we are going to try best that we can within the limits of our resources. At a CARICOM level, one of the things that we are really focusing on to help Cuba with is trying to get that U.S. blockade removed. So, you ask the Cubans, and I have done this, in a very practical way, even when they're really under serious strain. What can we do to help? What can we give to you? And the answer comes back: just help us to remove that blockade. That is all that we need. We don't need you to, we don't need you to send us food. Just help us to remove that blockade. So we are recommitted to doing that. At the summit, Barbados put forward the proposal that October the 6th, the day on which the Cubana terrorist tragedy took place, be designated CARICOM-Cuba Day Against Terrorism. That was done. That's the name of that day from now onwards. But then, having done that, then the heads of government followed up and called upon the United States to immediately remove Cuba from this bogus list. They have Cuba on this list of countries that sponsor state terrorism. And in fact, what we are saying to them is Cuba is not any sponsor of state terrorism. Cuba is perhaps the #1 victim of state terrorism. So we are committed to helping Cuba get that blockade removed. We had a very moving ceremony at the Cubana Monument immediately after the summit, immediately after designating October 6th CARICOM-Cuba Day Against Terrorism. We had this very moving ceremony. Prime Minister Motley spoke, President of Cuba, President of Guyana. 11 of their citizens died in that tragedy, and all of the leaders used that occasion once again to appeal to the United States to let justice and and reasonableness prevail and remove these sanctions against Cuba. So that's an area, and the projects that Cuba is helping us with, for example, the Regional School of the Arts, the Center for the Stimulating of Development of children with special educational needs. Those are sort of collaborative as well. I mean, the Cuban expertise, but CARICOM financial resources in building out the institutions.
It sounds like a really good partnership. It's exciting times ahead, opportunities for Barbadians to upskill themselves as well from this relationship, and it's going to be fantastic. Now, very briefly, quickly, because we're almost out of time, the colloquium, it obviously offered people a chance to become loquacious, to talk a little bit about what's going on. What are some of the things that came out of that particular colloquium?
Well, the idea of the colloquium really was that we were celebrating a very, very important milestone, 50 years in the relationship, and that we really could not have heads of government, the political class coming together to have summits and meetings, and the civil society was left out. So we said, look, this is an excellent opportunity to parallel what the governments will be doing by bringing together academics, scholars, activists, artists at our university. So we had people coming in from Cuba. We had renowned scholars coming in from other parts of the world, meeting with our scholars here and our activists. And yes, so we reviewed the entire 50-year period, and we ended with a panel that looked forward to the next 50 years. How is this relationship going to be developed? So it was very rich discussion. Out of it, you had this bringing together of Cuban artists, intellectuals, activists with their peers from across the Caribbean community. And actually, the colloquium ended with the organizers calling for us to look at everything that was said during that day and work out at least a minimum program for collaboration going ahead. So that's work to be done. Some concrete things coming out of the discussions that we can, that the civil society organizations and activists can work on together.
Great work. Thank you so much for the comprehensive report, Ambassador. And I look forward to our interactions again next week as we continue our conversations on CARICOM. Ambassador Comishon, thank you.
Thank you very much, Pearson.
You're very welcome.
Wishing you a very wonderful Christmas season.
And you too, sir. Thank you very much indeed. Ambassador David Comishon, Barbados Ambassador to CARICOM indeed. And so we're looking forward to all of the exciting times in CARICOM now that we know all the big news that's happening from that relationship with Cuba. Morning Barbados, it's a break here. We're coming back in just a moment.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
What was he saying?
Some ask, what makes Barbados so special? We at Mornin Barbados say it's you, our exceptional youth. You are talented, resilient, and inspirational. You are the epitome of the Barbadian spirit, testing the boundaries of your creativity. If you are an entrepreneur, artist, baker, designer, author, or have done anything you think should be highlighted, email us at morninbarbados@cbc.bb. Let us show the world our exceptional Bajan youth.
Books open your heart, your mind, and your soul. They are educational, entertaining, inspiring, and motivating. Are you an author of a recent book you want to share? Then Mornin Barbados would love to feature your book in our The Next Chapter segment. Send us an email to morninbarbados@cbc.bb. That's morning without the G. Come and let us turn those pages together.
Enjoy movies, soaps, drama, comedy, inspiration, education, music, and more. You get it all when you get MCTV, because MCTV gives you more.
While you go about your business, we go about our business, and that is gathering the news. Stay up to date at CBC News Barbados on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. Get news.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
9.5 minutes now to go to 7 o'clock this Tuesday morning. Just Friday gone, the BHTA held its 70th anniversary awards gala. And under the theme, Revitalized and Renewed, it was a spectacular evening, out of which came the Employee of the Year. We're also going to meet along with him, Hanif Walcott, who is their Employee of the Year, Miss Tessa Moore, who is a Membership Relations Assistant with the BHTA. Good morning, both of you.
Hi, good morning, Pearson.
Hi, good morning, Pearson. Thank you for joining us indeed. I'll start with you first, Tessa Lee, because I'm going to spend some time with Hanif in just a little while. Let's talk a little bit about the awards and the categories for which you recognized people this year.
Okay, sure. I'll just give listeners a little background on the BHTA. The BHTA is a not-for-profit private sector organization. Of June of this year, we celebrated 70 years, so we celebrated our platinum anniversary this year. And we recognized this milestone achievement by having our signature event called the Gallagher BHTA 70th Anniversary Awards Gala. And that's where we recognize Hanif. He won one of the awards for the Tourism Employee of the Year. Within the BHTA, we have a number of categories that persons are classified under. So we have the accommodation category, where the BHTA is home to a number of hotels. We represent 80% of room stock in Barbados, or 80% of the hotels, which represents approximately 5,300 rooms. We also have the vacation rental property management company category, which is home to all the villas, the villa market. We have the direct tourism services category, which is home to all businesses who earn approximately 75% of foreign exchange, or they earn most of their revenue or their income from the visitor to the island. So under that category, we have water sports companies, we have restaurant members, we have attractions. We also have supporting members. A lot of persons think that tourism is just the businesses who deal directly with the guests.
Yes.
We also have our supporting members, where we have financial institutions, we have telecommunication companies. So yes, so the BHTA is all encompassing. It's not only about companies who work directly with these guests, but also all the other companies who assist with the involvement of the industry.
And I'm glad you said that, because oftentimes you think tourism, we think hotels and guest houses only. And then you now see, when you see the awards and you see the different categories for which people are recognized and their contributions, then you see it's much more, it's all encompassing, it's total society. And so we really want to commend all who would have been acknowledged in the 70th anniversary awards anniversary. It was a big gala. What a spectacular night indeed. And how did you go about, by the way, Tessa Lee, in determining who is the Employee of the Year? Do you have any idea?
The Employee of the Year, it was the entire awards was a process. Members were invited to make nominations based on who they think was fitting based on the category of award. We also had a judging panel, so all nominations went to the judging panel of experienced persons, and they would have made their final selection within their meetings. The Employee of the Year award was done. Some person would have nominated Hanif, and they would have submitted supporting documentation to back up exactly why they were nominating Hanif and why they thought that Hanif was deserving of this award.
So now let's meet the man himself. Hanif Walcott is named the BHTA's Employee of the Year. Hanif, how was it on the night when you sat there among everyone else and you were anxiously waiting, probably fingers crossed and everything else, butterflies in your chest, and you heard your name called? How was that for you?
It was simply awesome. The thing is that I had my 15-year-old daughter right next to me. When they announced my name, I thought she was actually going to stand up and go for it. She was all excited. But it was simply awesome. You know, you over the years, the months, the COVID, you put in so many hours. For instance, yesterday morning, I started at 4:30 at the airport. I finished at 2 this morning. It's that kind of commitment, because I'm all about Brand Barbados, irrespective of which company I represent. I'm about Brand Barbados. So when you know, after all that hard work and your name is called, it's simply amazing to see that at least someone recognizes the hard work.
How many years have you been in the industry now?
Ooh, this is about 35 years I've been at the airport. American Airlines, yeah. I even did a stint at Japan. I know I'm at I'm with my tour operator company.
And are you
5 years? It was about 5 years I've been in the industry. And just a little background as well. I don't know if you remember years ago when you used to pay departure tax using the ticket.
Yes.
I kid you not, at American Airlines, I've probably spent about $1,200 assisting people who didn't have that money to pay for those things.
Wow, wow.
So, as I said, it's all about Brown Barbados, and this is what I teach my kids all the time. You know, if you're going to do something, make sure you do the best.
So what is it about the industry that still excites you, even 35 years later, to get up every morning to be a part of it?
It's the people that you meet. I've met guests. I've met a couple who said that that was their 47th visit to Barbados. And I'm like, in pure Barbadian, I said, you got to be kidding. Where are you doing here for 47 visits? I mean, on the earth that you can go. He said, honey, it's the people. The people that you meet, I've met over the years, the taxi drivers, the guys on the beach, that kind of thing. So that makes me so proud to see that, you know, we still have this product that we can give to, you know, extended family. They're pretty much extended family. And it's an amazing feeling. Sometimes you meet them on departures, and I would ask, so how was your stay? Oh, I don't want to leave. When you hear those kind of comments, it makes you, you know, it sends chills down your spine. And I wouldn't do anything else. And I just want to encourage the young people, you know, if you're going to get involved in it, make sure that you love it, that you're committed. Because this is what sustains us.
Indeed. But given the number of years that you've been in it now, what do you think we still need to do better as a destination?
To be honest, I would honestly like to see our service level. When I say that, I just had an executive husband who went to Dubai, and these are mature people. They did camel rides in the desert. They ride on those ATV things, and all she said to me was, "Honey, you know, it's the service. It's not about the attraction. It's the service that you get. Those people make you feel special when you're there." And this is what I want from my Barbados, to make those individuals feel special so that they will come back, and two, they will spread the word to their friends and say, you know, you need to go to Barbados. That's the place to be.
Reaching the hearts of a different demographic, because, you know, we're known as a more mature destination and more mature people come. How do we reach the hearts of other demographics so that they can also come and experience what you know we have?
That's a good question. The younger generation, you know, things are totally different now. There's a lot of electronics involved. I met 3 persons yesterday morning, probably between the age of 20 and 25. And all they were talking about when they left, they had a wonderful time, but all they were talking about is the music industry. So if you can get I don't know, some kind of committee that can reach out to these young folks. I don't know, at my old age now, I don't know anything about music. You know, I go. But if you can get a committee too, who can reach out to these younger folks to get them here, to get involved in activity that they're really hyped about, I think that would be the key, because as you said, we are a mature destination and we normally cater to the mature individual. But we definitely need to start getting those youngsters here involved.
Tessalee, as the Members Relation Assistant, what can you, from where you sit, do to respond to what Hanif just said? Or is there anything that you guys can do at the BHTA?
Yes, we are actually in the process of working with the Barbados Tourism Marketing Inc. to develop our product. So we will offer different attractions and different experiences to cater to the new traveler coming to Barbados. So we've understood that post-COVID, we've had what we term as the new traveler, a new segment, to new market to attract into Barbados, and we are in the process of working towards that.
So exciting times ahead indeed. I am against time right now. I really don't have any more time to spend with you, but I wish I could. I want to thank both of you. Tessely Moore, who is the Membership Relations Assistant with the BHTA, but the big man of the moment is Hanif Walcott, who is the Employee of the Year, the BHTA's Employee of the Year. Hanif, I hope you really have a really good time enjoying your celebration indeed, and I want to wish you all the best with your continued journey in tourism. And it's clear that you really want to help others have the fun that you have in tourism as well. So keep doing well what you're doing. And Tessely, to you and your crew, thank you very much. Thank you all for joining us.
Congrats again, Hanif.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tessely, as well.
All right, Morning Barbados, it's a break here. We're coming back with the news in just a moment.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
In the news now, local health authorities are concerned about the spread of COVID-19 given current positivity rates. Chief Medical Officer Dr. the Most Honorable Kenneth George says respiratory illnesses are on his ministry's radar, especially now in the Christmas season.
The information reaching us from the epidemiology unit shows that we still have some challenges with respect to respiratory disease and COVID in Barbados. The positivity rate is just below 20%, and the R effective is above 1. And those two metrics together indicate that we are still having COVID spread in our communities. In addition, what we also know is that the number of persons coming to be tested has fallen off, and therefore the number of persons having COVID within our communities is maybe not a true reflection of what it really is.
Dr. George wants citizens to be cautious at this time, but notes one positive is the rate of hospitalizations is low. There has, however, been one recent death.
Of those few individuals who have were hospitalized, they are having milder forms of illness. We unfortunately, within the last 7 days, have had a single death. Continue to monitor hospitalizations and death as a metrics to determine how severe infections are. So we will continue to work with the population. Many of you know what are the preventative measures. I'm not here to dampen your Christmas in any way, but we are here to let you know that there are still simple things that you can do to prevent sickness and illness.
Dr. George says while the present COVID-19 strains are not as harmful as Delta, they are still highly infectious, so individuals need to be mindful of their safety and sanitization.
The viruses circulating are certainly not as deadly or causing severe illness as when we were in the throes of Delta. The virus circulating is very infectious, so the likelihood of transmission is high, but the outcomes appear to be a bit better. But we still know that the following categories of persons are considered to be vulnerable: those who have chronic diseases, those who are overweight, those who are advancing in age, and those are the persons who we will ask to go the extra mile The message is personal responsibility. We will continue to work with you every step of the way. Let me assure the public that the ministry has not taken its eye off of COVID.
Deputy Chief Environmental Health Officer Ronald Chapman has issued a warning given the large number of tourists expected on island this season.
Things like mask wearing, which is still probably the best, if not the best method of preventing the spread of respiratory illness. They continue to ensure that your hand hygiene is up to scratch. If you're not able to wash your hands, still use your hand sanitizers. The whole idea of physical distancing and so on, those things are still important.
Barbados has released a new passport with improved security features. The announcement from Minister of Home Affairs and Immigration, Wilfred Abrams. Trevor Thorpe reports.
The minister has called the new passport a collector's item of which all Barbadians can be justly proud.
We are transitioning to the new passport effective immediately. So going forward, you're going to have 2 sets of passports until the old passports are renewed out of the system. Now, your old passport will still be valid, but for persons who are applying for passports from today's date, they will get the new passport. The features are going to be explained by somebody else, but it's really exciting. This was a process. We went through a number of designs. The designs, when you see the passports, have pelican places of interest in Barbados, and these are not just there for aesthetic purposes, but they're also incorporated into the security features. It is a top of the line, first rate, first class, very, very secure passport, and I am pleased that we're putting it into operation from today.
The new document will have more security features.
So the main features of the new design book are images from Barbadian historical and cultural landscapes, as well as upgraded security features in keeping with international standards. The businessman's passport that we used to have has been discontinued. So you will no longer be getting businessmen's passports anymore. And there's a practical reason for that. Once upon a time, everywhere you went, they stamped into your passport. And the business persons, by virtue of traveling more often, their passports got full a lot quicker. So the businessman's passport had additional pages with a thicker passport. But in many places now, they don't necessarily stamp the passport on entry. They definitely don't stamp it on leaving. You swipe the passport, and so the passports actually last a lot longer. So we took the decision to phase out the businessman's passport.
Acting Chief Immigration Officer Margaret Innes says the regular passport will be good for 10 years and provided details of the cost of renewals.
10 days and under, that will be 150 Barbados dollars. If you want to get your passport between 2 to 3 days, that's 225 Barbados dollars. And if you want it back within 24 hours, that would be 300 Barbados dollars.
Minister Abrams also notes the Immigration Department is constantly working on ways to improve its service to the public, and a number of training programs are already in place. Trevor Thorpe, CBC News.
All right, that's our news until now. Morning Barbados takes a break here. We're back in just a moment.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
While you go about your business, we go about our business, and that is gathering the news. Stay up to date at CBC News Barbados on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. Get news update on radio throughout the day. And join us for the CBC News Night at 7 every night. CBC News team is on the job and bringing you the news.
Because you love English Premier League, MCTV has got it back. Now you can watch all the games of the English Premier League plus UEFA and NFL on MCTV. Current customers can upgrade to Maxback Extra at just $23. Call MCTV today at 228-6288 to upgrade or come in and sign up for our new service. Football fans, let MCTV get you back in the game.
Think before you click. Adrian, think before you click. Don't forget now. Before you spread wrong information. Think before you click. Just stop and think. Think before you click. confirm the source of the information, think before you click. When friends send news to your phone, check the source or leave it alone. Cause people creating fake news to deceive you and confuse. Alright yo, accident broadcast on WhatsApp. Check yourself, don't forward that. Have respect for the victim's family. You would not share family like that. Think before you click. Agents, think before you click. Don't forget now. Before you spread wrong information, think before you click. Just stop and think before you click. Think before you click. If you can't confirm the source of the information, think before you click.
Eleven minutes now after 7 o'clock. We'll turn our attention now to talk about ADHD. And I know you're asking, what is that and how do I know whether or not my child has ADHD? I have those questions too. Dr. Gillian Birchwood has the answers though. She joins us now, our pediatrician. Good morning to you, Dr. Birchwood.
Good morning to you, Pearson, and all of Barbados. That's a lovely Christmas tree. I need help to put up mine.
Well, hurry, please, put yours up so we can see it. I know it's normally there at Christmas. All right, so we're looking at ADHD. You know, what is it and what causes it?
ADHD stands for Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder. It's a bit of a mouthful, so it's just easier to say ADHD. And it is actually a condition that happens in children and adults. Many people are undiagnosed, especially adults, and it is caused by a bit of a chemical imbalance in the brain. And what happens is that the executive functions of the brain, which is the part of our brain that manages the rest of our brain, doesn't function in the same way as it does in other people. And so we may have problems with things like inattention, hyperactivity, and being very impulsive. So kids with this condition can really face a lot of challenges, especially if it's not recognized.
You said at first just now, children and adults. Is it something that happens that triggers it, or are you born with it?
Well, I would have to say you are born with a tendency to have it. There are genetic factors. You know, right now it's really not very clear exactly why some people have ADHD and other people do not have ADHD, but there are definitely genetic factors. So quite a significant percentage of people who have ADHD have a parent with it, whether the parent has been diagnosed or not, because there are a lot of undiagnosed people out there. And if they don't have a first-degree relative like a parent, then there will often be an uncle or an auntie, or it runs in the family to have ADHD. But there are some kids with a higher risk for having it if they were born premature, if they're low birth weight, if they had a parent who took alcohol or tobacco during the pregnancy, and things like that, that those children are at increased risk for having ADHD.
You hear that, parents? Pay attention, all of those things. If you did all those things, those children are more likely to have ADHD. So how do we spot it? How do we actually spot it in the child? It's not something you actually can look at and see. So how do we spot when the child has ADHD?
It can be challenging. Sometimes it's really obvious, but it can be quite challenging. So there's sort of three main groups of symptoms. Some children are inattentive. So in other words, they don't pay attention. So you might find that they are the ones who are very easily distracted. They can't seem to finish a task. You have to keep telling them the same thing over and over and over again. They have difficulty getting organized with their schoolwork or with their homework. And you really have to tell them, please, I asked you to close the door. Can you please follow that direction? And they're off distracted and they are really not paying attention. So this is one category of symptoms that children with ADHD can have. And you might say, well, my child is like this.
Yes.
I think anybody can have, anybody can have these symptoms, but children with ADHD have them much, much more. Another category of symptoms are the children who are hyperactive, and this is the category that gets all the attention because kids who are hyperactive, they're bouncing off the walls. They're the ones who are running around. They're roughhousing when they should be quiet when it's quiet time. They're fidgeting. They're always on the go, running up and down. And these are the ones who you say, sit down, sit down, sit down. You know, you see the parents saying that, and they absolutely are unable to do so. And then the last category is those children who have problems. So we discussed those who are inattentive, we discussed those who are hyperactive, and then we have the impulsive group of children. And these are children who cannot take, they to take their turn. They are always interrupting if you're talking. They will just say whatever comes into their mind without thinking about the consequences. And they do, things that you say to them afterwards, why exactly did you do that? And they will say, I don't know. It just popped into their head. And these children can also be quite emotionally labile. So they can have outbursts, they can be very angry, they can lash out without warning. And so this is the third category, and these are the symptoms that will let you know if your child has ADHD. Most kids have some of these symptoms, but not as often as those who have full-blown ADHD.
We'll chalk it up to either bad behavior, bad parenting, or we'll just simply say, oh, the child is just hyper. He's probably just had too much sugar at the moment, and we ignore it. But you're saying, no, let's pay attention to those signs, because those signs could very well mean that your child has ADHD. If the child does have ADHD, what now do I do?
I think what you brought up just now is a really, really important point. Children who have these symptoms are often labeled. They're labeled as the bad kids. They don't listen. In school and at home, they often really struggle because of their behavioral and impulse problems. And it is really important to highlight this is not intentional. They're not just hard A's as they seem to be labeled. So it's really important to recognize that so you can help them. And now, what do we do? So the first thing is to recognize that they have it, or they may have it. Take them definitely to get a formal diagnosis. And a formal diagnosis is really, it's not one way of diagnosing it. We're looking to see how often they have symptoms. And so usually it involves a checklist that the parents will complete and a checklist that the teacher will complete at school. And that really enables the whole picture to be put together. And then you need to think about whether or not the child needs to have therapy. They usually do need some kind of therapy. Behavior therapy helps them to organize, to control their impulses, to deal with their emotions. So behavior therapy is definitely really important. And for older kids, those who are in school, medication is an important adjunct. It's not a cure, but it's an adjunct to the therapy that the children also will need so that they can sit down, they can focus, they can pay attention in school, which is a very important part of what they can miss out on if they have ADHD.
A couple of things, because your instincts almost tell you that something is not quite right. And as a parent, you should not ignore those instincts. But can the child grow out of it? Or do you just grow to learn to live with it and manage it?
Well, they don't really grow out of it. The thing is, they can learn to manage the symptoms. And as I said, there are some very highly functional adults out there who have ADHD, and you may not ever know, or you may suspect because the symptoms change over time. So you may have a child who was really hyper when they were younger, but as an adult, they're described as restless. And that might suit certain roles really well, and they may remain undiagnosed, but it can cause a problem when they go into the job market and they're required to do more. They're not able to focus and they're not able to pay attention to do all the things that they're supposed to do for their job. So I wouldn't say you grow out of it, but many people learn to cope and use their strengths to overcome, because many, many children who have ADHD are very intelligent. It is not to be confused with problems with intelligence. They're very intelligent, and so they learn to cope, even if it's dysfunctionally, if they're not diagnosed.
We also heard of cases where children with ADHD are also quite introverted, for want of a better expression, right now. They just go quiet, and they are very to themselves. Is that also one of the signs that we need to look and pay attention to?
Yes, children with ADHD are not always hyperactive. as I said, the ones who are bouncing off the walls, they get your attention right away because nothing in your house is not broken. But for the ones who are inattentive, then definitely these kids may be missed. They may be quite quiet, but they're not paying attention. They're not organized. They're not following through and able to complete tasks. So they may not be bouncing off the walls, but they may not be doing well in school. And it's not because of their intellectual ability, but it is because they are not able to sustain attention for the tasks that would really be important for when they're going to school.
And the wonderful thing is our school system now has in place opportunities for that to be spotted and detected early, for some intervention to obtain early, and not the belt, because oftentimes as the adult, you know, the belt will speak for you when somehow the child doesn't seem to comply with what it is that you're trying to achieve and trying to raise them. So it's one of those situations, one of those conditions that is so unfortunate sometimes, but nonetheless the child is intelligent, able and capable enough once given the intervention that is required. And so this is where your services as a pediatrician very early in the child's life is important.
Yes, you know, it's so important if you as a parent have concerns about your child's behavior. And as I said, it's not just being hyperactive. It is that I can't seem to pay attention. So if you notice these signs in your child, it's really, really important to raise them with your doctor because you want to be able to get a diagnosis early. This is going to reduce the stress and the sort of disappointment that children can sometimes face when they're going into the school environment. They are very much aware when they have these problems and they're unaware of what they can do to help themselves. And so they struggle in school and they will often really end up acting out, and this is the behavior problems because they're not getting the help that they need. As you said, the belt is not the answer. In fact, it's likely to make things worse because they really cannot change their behavior. They're not capable of changing their behavior on their own. It's not willful behavior. It's not that they're being stubborn and refuse to comply. They need help. There's a difference in the way that their brain functions. And you as the parent need to spot this as a possibility, jump in, get them recognized so that they can get the help that they need to thrive as they definitely are capable of as beautiful children.
That is such a wonderful full stop, but I have one more question. You know, can the condition ADHD impact on the child's eating habits as well? And if so, you know, that creates a fear that the child is perhaps not eating properly.
Well, children with ADHD, again, depending on where they are, can sometimes have eating problems. But some of the medications that are used to treat ADHD can affect a child's appetite. So their appetite may drop off. Sometimes there can be a bit of weight loss, but it does not mean that if the medication is not agreeing with the child that there are not other alternatives. So I think for parents, anytime you start a medication for any reason for your child, if you are seeing side effects that you don't like, it's important to raise it with the doctor so that they can say, okay, this one is not working for your child. We'll try another one. Don't worry, we'll get help. We'll see to it that your child gets what they need. This one won't work, but we'll find one that will. So definitely they can have eating problems arise on certain medications and appetite loss, but this is rectifiable and we can always change the medication so that it works for them.
Great news indeed. Thank you so much, Dr. Burchard, as always, for joining us here on Morning Barbados. Wish you the best today and always looking forward to seeing you again real soon.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You're welcome indeed. Great sage advice there for our parents indeed. If you spot those symptoms and those signs, intervene early because there is something that can help you manage it and the child manage it as well. We're going to take a break right here. We're coming back in just a moment.
Before you click, Adrian, think before you click. Don't forget now, before you spread wrong information. Think before you click, just stop and think. Think before you click, think before you click. If you can't confirm the source of the information, think before you click. When friends send news to your phone, check the source or leave it alone. Cause people creating fake news to deceive you and confuse. Alright, yo, accident broadcast on WhatsApp. Check yourself, don't forward that. family. You would not share family like that. Think before you click. Agents, think before you click. Don't forget now. Before you spread wrong information, think before you click. Just stop and think before you click. Think before you click. If you can't confirm the source of the information, think before you click.
There is a saying, you can find a Bajan and
Morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Change is in the air as a new school year begins. Adrian, now 15 years old, is feeling the change.
New term, new farm, new uniform, new classmates, and a new Adrian.
His preoccupation with popularity is no more.
I'm the new Adrian, the Adrian that fights the cause and succeeds.
Popularity-focused schemes may be a thing of the past, but the perilous adventures which underscored them are very much a part of the present.
I know you got what it takes to survive the Dead Sea. Error.
You don't know my mother. If I could survive her, I could survive anything.
The motivations are different, but the results are the same. Complications and contention around every corner. Look what happened to Bad Nasty. Man, we gonna mess with this little man good. Is Adrian a new matured creation, or is he just a repackaged version of his old self?
No, I see clearly who you have become.
As he faces old, new, and perceived enemies, could it be possible his biggest enemy is himself?
You gotta love pain.
Find out in these intriguing adventures, which consistently put Adrian at loggerheads. Adrian?
No, I am definitely not Adrian.
I love it. Now, this is the third in the series. We've had Adrian at last, Adrian at large, now Adrian at loggerheads. And in this one, Adrian is now grown up. Adrian is wearing long pants and the white shirts and the tie and everything. He's no longer the little boy. So what's different about Adrian in this one, Adrian at loggerheads?
Well, it's interesting that you should ask that question because that is the central question throughout the whole book. What is different, and well, is anything different? So he's no longer trying to be popular, so that is a major change, and he is expecting that with the popularity behind him, that all of the turmoil that underscored the first two books would change, but it doesn't change, and therefore it sort of hints that him trying to be popular wasn't necessarily the problem, but the symptom of a larger problem that he's yet to uncover.
If you can survive my mother, I can survive anything. That's what he said. And the book begins with the evolution of Adrian Manning, and these are fictional names that we're using, by the way. Adrian walked across the hard court in the middle of the school. In the early morning breeze, he stepped with perky confidence en route to his classroom after a period in the science lab. He beamed with pride as he walked past the juniors. Just a couple months ago, he was a third former in short pants, looking up to the senior students. Now, he was the one in long pants and a tie, and he was convinced that those juniors were looking at him with the same admiration he had for his seniors a couple months ago. He's grown up, and so he's beginning to take on a lot more adult activities and having a more adult way of thinking as well. What's this book for the young teenager who's struggling with self?
Well, the major question that I think all of us are asking growing up is, who am I, or who should I be? And that is really the crux here. That is really the question Adrian is asking himself. who exactly should I be? So the first story is called The Evolution of Adrian Manning, because you sort of meet different incarnations of him as he is trying to carve out who exactly should I be if I'm not trying to be popular anymore. So I think that that is something that should be very relatable to anyone growing up. And we seek to give you a healthy answer to how you should go about with answering those types of questions.
It's very easy reading. It is also very fun reading as well. It's a story that you're telling, and in this telling of the story, we can actually see Adrian Manning himself walking through the school, encountering different people of different ages and stages, and then in the final chapter, making that turning point. So talk to me about the crafting of the story from the evolution right through to the turning point. I'd like to get into your mind to see how your mind churns so that you are able to come to a conclusion. And the series doesn't end here, but certainly the book ends at the turning point.
Yes. So yes, there are 3 short stories in the book. They can be read completely independently, but when you read them one after the next, there is definitely one tale that is woven where we kind of open with him trying to work out who exactly am I. And by the final story, we sort of bring you to a place of not just understanding what Adrian does, but why Adrian does it. Because, well, it is necessary to bring this guy some kind of wholeness. He has been through much.
Yes.
He has been through much hardship. So I felt fairly adamant that even though the hardship is entertaining to watch him face, that we sort of owe him some wholeness, and yeah, we are starting to bring him in to wholeness by the end of this book.
That is such a wonderful way to put it, indeed. And so he's met now a turning point where he has to make some decisions. And in that's where the book ends at the moment, because it continues in the next book, indeed. Mario, these books are so good books to pick up and to really make wonderful gifts of at this time. Where can people get copies of all 3 you've done so far?
Yes, please. Yes, so I am working with Day's Bookstore, Independence Square. So you can get all 3 of them there. You can also order them directly from me on marioherbert.com.
Right. MarioHerbert.com is his website. You can get it from there, or you can go to Day's Bookstore in town and pick up a copy. And you just tie a ribbon around it because it's so colorfully depicted that you don't need to put any kind of gift wrapping at all. Wrap it with a ribbon and gift it to a nice teenager, a young boy today, some young person today, because it will make a big difference as they turn the pages. Because up next in the series is Adrian at Liberty. Can't wait to hear how he's liberated himself from all of these things, seeking popularity. He recognizes that it's merely transient. Popularity is merely transient. Just being a solid person, making that turning point and turning to what? Adrian at Liberty is the book that will tell you what it is that he turns to. Thank you so much, Mario Herbert. All the best. Continue writing. Very proud of the work that you've been able to produce so far. And I hope that many people contact you or head into Day's Bookstore and get themselves copies of these books. Adrian at Loggerhead, Adrian at Last, Adrian at Large. They are available. They are Barbadian, but they are very well crafted, very well written indeed by that man on your screen, Mario Herbert. Thank you, Mario. All the best to you.
Thank you so much, Pearson.
You're very welcome indeed. MarioHerbert.com. MarioHerbert.com. MarioHerbert.com is his website. We'll take a break here. We're coming back in just a moment.
There is a saying you can find a Bajan anywhere. Are you a Bajan living abroad? Or do you know of one who has migrated to another country? Well, we at Mornin Barbados would love to have you or them on our Bajan Afar segment. Share your amazing stories, experiences, and how you have adapted to a new culture. Send us an email to morninbarbados@cbc.vb, and together we will travel the world.
Some ask, what makes Barbados so special? We at Mornin Barbados say it's you, our exceptional youth. You are talented, resilient, and inspirational. You are the epitome of the Barbadian spirit, testing the boundaries of your creativity. If you are an entrepreneur, artist, baker, designer, author, or have done anything you think should be highlighted, email us at morninbarbados@cbc.bb. Let us show the world our exceptional Bajan youth.
Books open your heart, your mind, and your soul. They are educational, entertaining, inspiring, and motivating. Are you an author of a recent book you want to share? Then Mornin Barbados would love to feature your book in our The Next Chapter segment. Send us an email to morninbarbados@cbc.bb. That's morning without the G. Come and let us turn those pages.
23 minutes now to go to the hour of 8 o'clock as we turn our attention to real estate matters with our girl, Agent Sharita. Agent Sharita, good morning to you. We'll get connect with Agent Sharita in just a moment. We want to look at a very interesting subject today, and I hope you're going to pay close attention to if it's you who we're talking to. Agent Sharita, morning.
Good morning.
Love your clash of colors, girl. Looking really smart this morning indeed. Love it. Adrian, Sharita, my house is too small. Perfect. Isn't that a strange position to hold?
Not at all. I remember one of my first listings. I went to, it was a property on a double lot. It was huge across from the ocean. Was so excited to go to it, again, to see these big houses. And I remember that as soon as the owner opened the door and I came in, she said, Sharita, help me get rid of this. I am tired of cleaning it. All these 5 bedrooms upstairs, every minute I go clean, downstairs clean. I just get rid of it. And I was in shock because I thought this was the dream that everybody pursued. Yes. And she brought it down to simple matters. It was just too big.
I'm sorry, I laugh because the way you express it, but you're right. Sometimes we find ourselves in accommodations that are difficult to manage. Whether it's difficult to manage because it's difficult to navigate, or it's difficult because it's costly to maintain at the same time. So let's look at it from either side. How do we begin then to make this house perfect?
All right. Well, first of all, it starts off with buying the right house. Listen, gone are those days when in Barbados you thought that you had to, have to have a big mega house to maintain your status. Oh, the madness. Because firstly, it costs a lot to buy that big house in the first place. So you minimize on your costs when you decide to start with something smaller. And let's be honest. Remember I told you, houses do not love you back. So when you're getting a big house is going to come with big problems. Okay, so when you want a roof issue fixed, and if people turn up and see your mansion, that is no longer a small cost issue. So remember that when you have a smaller property to begin with, you pay less to get it in the first place, but you also pay a lot less too in terms of your maintenance costs because you have less to handle.
Makes sense. After all, I mean, smaller. So that's one consideration. Just bear in mind that the larger it is, the more costly it will be to maintain. What are the things that we need to pay attention to?
Well, one thing that I can tell you, when you have a small house, your relationships should improve. Let me explain what it is.
Please do.
For those of you who have tiny homes, or small homes,
Yes.
the living area becomes the focal point because most of the property is, not necessarily spacious, but the living and eating area is where the space is. That's where the family members, the couple, the whoever will spend most of their time before bed. So because you're in closer proximity, you tend to have to be nice to one another. You tend to want to work together to achieve a common goal, and you behave for the most part a lot better.
It's cozier. It's cozier. It's cuter. It is more familial. And that's what you really want. You want to be able to achieve as a family. And of course, if you're just moving as a single, it's again easier to clean. It's easier to maintain and all the rest of it. And just a few friends over will make a home just feel like home indeed. So yes, you're right. So it's a lot, the relationships improve because the space is such that it's cozier. I like that. I really do like that. But a lot of people look at it and think, but Pearson, look at where you work. You should have. And so the emotions flood you because the expectations are what you're trying to attain. So how smart is that?
Well, I'm going to tell you nowadays, people are at the point where they don't care. People don't care about trying to maintain the status quo anymore. Not when they get electricity bills for $400 or $500. All of a sudden you get to a point where you don't care about how it looks when you have downsized. So the beauty of downsizing too, we alluded to it at the beginning, cleaning goes down. I know some persons like that lady with 3,000 square feet properties. Guess what? By the time you clean the second floor and come down to the ground floor and come down to the sub-level, the top floor is shouting at you again. You never get an ease, and it is never clean enough. And then if you decide that you are not taking it on yourself, you then incur the cleaning charges of having a housekeeper there once or twice a week. Another cost that you necessarily didn't need to have. One of the things I would say about living smaller, think about that beautiful feeling when you clean out your closet and take out clothes and donate and get rid of stuff that you have hoarded over the last couple years. There's something liberating about living in a house that is free of clutter, and when you have a smaller house, it forces you to do that because you don't have a lot of space to play with. So for the most part, you try not to bring, a clutter fest into your property in the first place. So you feel a lot lighter and freer. You laugh heartier when you go and hang out with your friends at the beach because, you're just open and liberated.
You're selling me on the small house, but you're really selling me on the smaller house. And that's the whole point here. One, it's cost effective, easier to maintain, and it's freer, it's warmer, and if you're looking for that kind of living, then a smaller house is truly perfect. Now, if I'm living in a larger house, therefore, and I'm listening to you this morning, Agent Sharita, and I'm thinking, this girl making a lot of sense. I need to start downsizing. How do I begin the process? Because, it's easier said than done sometimes.
Yes, first of all, it starts with a psychological self-assessment. And the reason I say that, I once sold a property for a gentleman. It was a 5-bedroom property. His family had already moved out. He was living there for a while by himself. And when he chose to downsize, you want to know what he downsized from that 5-bedroom to? One man? 4 bedrooms. Unless you give yourself permission that it's okay to go into something smaller, you're not going to get it done well. So you have to give yourself permission. Number 2, I would say that if you have a family and then all of a sudden it's an empty nest, I know that family house has sentimental value. I get it. I get it. But you have to find a way to get closure and bring the most important, memorable points of that house with you when you transition to somewhere else. And if you know that gardening was the most important focal point for you while you were at that bigger house, find a smaller house that has beautiful gardens. So psychologically, you have to prepare. And above all, look forward to a new chapter. Change is okay. And with it, you get to set the narrative. You get to write the script as to how you go forward. So it's not bad at all. For not for most of the people I know who have decided to put their house on the market, either for rent or sale, could put it on for rent just to test out the feeling, rent somewhere else first, and then sell it later down the road when you're comfortable.
So good to hear from you. So good to hear from you. I think anyone listening now, it feels a lot more comfortable and confident to make that decision to downsize and to look for the house that is perfect. It is okay. It is okay, but it can start today with a phone call to Agent Sharita, 233-8888. I'll say it again, 233-8888. Should I say it again? 233-8888. Agent Sharita 246 on social as well, Barbados Real Estate 2462. So thank you, Agent Sharita. Wish you all the best. Looking forward to interacting with you again really, really soon. All the best.
All the best. Take care.
Likewise indeed. Morning Barbados, we're going to take a break right here. When we come back, beer sport going down the road. Stay with us.
Books open your heart, your mind, and your soul. They are educational, entertaining, inspiring, and motivating. Are you an author of a recent book you want to share? Then Mornin Barbados would love to feature your book in our The Next Chapter segment. Send us an email to morninbarbados@cbc.bb. That's morning without the G. Come and let us turn those pages together.
Enjoy movies, soaps, drama, comedy, inspiration, education, music, and more. You get it all when you get MCTV, because MCTV gives you more.
While you go about your business, we go about our business, and that is gathering the news. Stay up to date at CBC News Barbados on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Get news update on radio throughout the day. And join us for the CBC News Night at 7 every night. CBC News team is on the job and bringing you the news.
Because you love English Premier League, MCTV has got it back. Now you can watch all the games of the English Premier League plus UEFA and NFL on MCTV. Current customers can upgrade to Max Pack Extra at just $20.
Good morning. Good morning to you.
We have 12 minutes to go to the hour of 8 o'clock. That means 12 minutes is just you and me. You better believe it. But I want to share with you a few things, by the way, in case you didn't know. Did you get a chance to go to Carols by Candlelight on the weekend just gone? You didn't? I didn't get a chance either, but you can see it on MCTV. That's right. Carols by Candlelight goes online, pay-per-view. Have a watch party with your friends. You can purchase your tickets today for just $50 Barbados or US $25, and you can sign up right now at ticketlinks.com, ticketlinks.com, or call our MCTV customer care desk at 228-6288 from 8 o'clock this morning. Or send us an email at customerservices@cbc.bb. So 3 ways for you to get in there and get online to watch pay-per-view Carols by Candlelight. You can either go to ticketlinks.com and pay your $50 Barbados or your $25 US. You can sign up by calling MCTV on 228-6288. You can sign up by sending an email to customerservices@cbc.bb and watch Carols by Candlelight online pay-per-view and enjoy all that everybody else got a chance to enjoy last weekend. Also want to remind you that we are continuing our CBC Cares food drive. The barrel is looking full. I love it. We love to have more and more barrels indeed. If you're going to Massey Warren's today and you're doing your shopping, show your care by dropping some non-perishable items into the food barrel that is there at Massey Supermarket Warren's today and again tomorrow. No, today's the 13th. So you go to Massey Warren's today and make your purchases, put it in the barrel, and we want to give some families in need this holiday season. And we're already thanking you. Thank you so very much for caring in the way that we know that you do. All right, we care too, and so we want to be able to give to someone today a chance to win something because we are in our season of giving at the CBC, in our What You Gonna Give Me for Christmas competition. You have entered, and now today we want to call someone to see if they will answer their phone correctly. You know what I would love you to do? I'd love you to sing it. Don't just say it, sing it. What are you going to give me for Christmas when your phone is ringing and you answer your phone? So are we ready to give someone a call? We have 10 minutes to go now to the hour of 8 o'clock. So let's see if we can get someone on the line. I don't have my information, so you guys are going to have to guide me again today. So let's see who we get on the line today. I shall go quiet. Let's see who answers the phone. Answer the phone, answer the phone. Answer your phone. Can't you hear your phone ringing? Please answer your phone.
I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry too. We had so much fun yesterday with Gwen. Wasn't Gwen fun? So let's see who answers your phone today. Answer your phone when you hear it ring. If you could sing your answer, I'd love to hear it. If you can sing it. If you can't sing it, well, speak it. I'll be cool. But you need to answer the right way. So let's see how this one goes now. Answer your phone. Don't just watch it. Don't just try to figure out the number. Answer the phone. Answer the phone. You have it on silent. This one doesn't... No, that one didn't work. That one did not answer the phone. You missed an opportunity today to win. Why would you do that to yourself? Let's see if we get this one answering now. If you can answer by singing it, I'd love that if you can. Let's see if you can answer this phone. Oh, please answer your phone. Remember, you get a chance to win.
Good morning. What are you going to give me for Christmas?
No, hello. How are you?
I am fine.
Oh, good morning to you.
Good morning.
So, can you sing your answer for me? I heard you say something rather strange just now.
Pardon me?
I heard you sing something rather strange just now.
Oh, what are you going to give me for Christmas?
Yeah, why did you say that?
Listen. There is something on CBC, on the radio, that when they call and you answer the phone, you say there's a promotion, what you going to give me for Christmas. So then you get, then they will tell you, they will call you and tell you you will get some gift. It may be a voucher.
Okay.
You may get ham, you may get chickens.
Okay.
You may get gas in your car, but this $100, $100 in gas, $100 in chicken from the chicken farm, or you get a ham from. So you have to answer what you're going to give them for Christmas.
Okay, so should I enter?
No, only we Barbadians enter.
Only Barbadian. I'm Barbadian. So should I enter?
You're Barbadian. Yes, you can enter.
Well, that's good then.
But people call in last month.
Right.
And now, like, they will have numbers. And they will call you now.
Okay.
When you call in, you will say, and the radio station answer you.
Right.
You will say, I want something for Christmas.
I got you. I got you, girl.
But when they call you back now, because they got the list with numbers, and they will call a number at random, and when the phone rings, you will answer, we're going to give me for Christmas.
You got this thing down pat, Hazel, right?
You have to call it like in the Bajan.
Yeah.
What are you going to give me? You can't say it. You have to say, we're going to give me for Christmas.
Hazel?
Good morning, Mr. Pearson.
Good morning. How are you?
I am fine. How are you?
I'm doing well. Is this my friend from St. Peter?
Listen, you sound everything like my brother-in-law in Nigeria.
I do?
Yes, everything like him.
Oh, bless you, bless you,
How
bless
are you this morning?
I am
I'm so glad to hear
surviving,
you.
girl. It is good to hear you too, Hazel. I'm doing well.
Because I was trying to get through yesterday to talk to Amaral about the... He was talking about vegetables and potatoes and so. And I can't get through at all.
Yeah, the lines are always busy. But Hazel, it is good talking to you. You are a winner, Hazel.
I don't come out from inside watching you on telly.
But I know you can go back inside and watch me again here.
I broke the phone with me. If anybody called me.
Indeed so. Now, folks, tell me what Hazel has won, if you don't mind. Let me tell you what you've won today.
Tell me.
Hazel?
Yes?
You still eat chicken?
Yes, I eat chicken and eat ham. Nothing like a ham for Christmas. I was telling somebody last week, once I get a little ham and a little ice cream, I don't matter what else I get, or a piece of pork.
A piece of pork, a piece of ham, or ice cream, are you good to go? I can only get chicken. I got you. Hazel, I can only give you chicken today, though, okay?
No problem. Whatever you give me, I'm thankful for, and I appreciate it.
But you know, you haven't answered my question. Are you Hazel from St. Peter?
Yes, you're Hazel with the pretty hair.
Yes, my girl with the silver hair. That is you.
Silver hair lady.
Yes, the silver hair lady from here. And that you used to work at Jordan's, right?
Yes.
Yes, see, I remember. I remember you.
Supermarket and snack bar.
Correct. And you also live near to the Alexandra School.
Yes, that's the Hazel.
Gotcha, girl.
When you turn around and come back down with the van, and the first thing you said, look at the hair.
I remember that morning for real. I just fell in love with your hair. Your hair was so beautiful.
Yes.
And I had to stop and talk to you, indeed. The lady with the beautiful hair.
You had to.
Yes. Well, Hazel, I thank you for being such a joy and bringing such joy to us this morning. You are such a lovely soul.
Don't forget the 14th of January, I'll be 89.
And don't forget the 18th of January, I'll be a little less than that.
I know that. I know. I always follow up everything.
Yes. Actually, on the 14th of January, you're born on the same day as one of my very good friends who I've grown up with for life. She's also born on the 14th of January, so I don't think I'll forget yours now.
Yeah.
All right, Hazel.
Yes.
Thanks a lot, my girl. Somebody from CBC will call you and we'll make arrangements with you to collect your voucher. Okay, Hazel?
Thank
have
you
a good
very
day.
much. And you
You're
have
welcome.
A blessed day. Have a
You
blessed
too.
day.
You too, Hazel.
You
Take
made
care.
my day this morning.
I'm glad to hear. Bye-bye now.
You made my day.
Thank you. Glad to hear that. We made her day. We tried and we made her day. We're going to take a break. We're coming back in just a moment, folks.
What you gonna give me for Christmas?
Give me anything you can.
Merry Christmas.
Because you love English Premier League, MCTV has got it back. Now you can watch all the games of the English Premier League plus UEFA and NFL on MCTV. Current customers can upgrade to Max Pack Extra at just $23. Call MCTV today at 228-6288 to upgrade or come in and sign up for a new service. Football fans, let MCTV get you back in the game.
Think before you click. Adrian, think before you click. Don't forget now. Before you spread wrong information. Think before you click. Just stop and think. Think before you click. Think before you click. If you can't confirm the source of the information, think before you click. When friends send news to your phone, check the source or leave it alone. Cause people creating fake news to deceive you and confuse. Alright yo, accident broadcast on WhatsApp. Check yourself, don't forward that. Have respect for the victim's family. You would not share family like that. Think before you click. Agents, think before you click. Don't forget now. Before you spread wrong information, think before you click. Just stop and think. Think before you click. Think before you click. If you can't confirm the source of the information, think before you click. morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
And with a smile on your face, we have to leave you today. Thank you so much for joining us, everyone, for another edition of Morning Barbados. Until tomorrow, take care and bye-bye.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Barbados, get up. Good morning.